This is the story and how my mother turned away the Catholic priests who had visited, wanting to recruit me and into priesthood. Actually, this is the story of how my mother's single statement ended my desire to become a Catholic priest. I had just finished the junior seminary. I had expressed this very big or rather intense interest to become a Catholic priest, and specifically joining the religious order of the Verona missionaries or the Comboni missionaries. I had gone for a 1 week novitiate training in Kiserian, where I strongly expressed my desire to becoming a priest. And the then vocation director, Father Anthony Schneider, a German Catholic priest, along with an Italian Catholic priest who I don't really remember his name, possibly maybe Father Gustavo, something like that, I don't remember. We arranged that we will be traveling all the way from Nairobi to Kuria East, or rather in Kuria that time, before it was divided between into Kuria East and Kuria West. So together we journeyed from Nairobi and arrived in Intimaru quite late in the afternoon, around 5. My mother, my father welcomed me into home, and we were warmly received. The two white Catholic priests were exhausted from the long journey from Nairobi to Kuria, and soon after meals, they stretched their camping beds, and one slept on a camping bed, one slept inside a sleeping bag. They slept just on the floor in my mother's house, and then early in the morning, we woke up, and after breakfast, the priest told me that, George, we need to get down to business and try to handle exactly what brought us here. And so I called my father, I called my mother. Both of them were seated opposite me. I was seated on one side with the two Catholic priests, and they asked me to tell my parents. And this is the statement that Father Anthony Schneider asked me to tell my parents. And he said, we have come here to get your permission to kind of enroll George into the senior seminary to become a Catholic priest. We find him worthy of joining the religious order of the Comboni missionaries. Are you ready to support him both morally and materially while he is undertaking his studies? And so I had to interpret this to my parents in Korea. And as I interpreted to my parents, and after I was through with the interpretation, my mother looked at me. She put on a very serious face and told me, George, at that time, the way the Korean people pronounce George, she pronounced it Chochi. Tell the Catholic priest that I am not ready to let you become a Catholic priest. I am not ready to let you go. You are our second son, and our first son is married to an outsider. Our first son is married to a Luo woman, and we are afraid that being an outsider, one day she could run away, one day she could go, and she will go with all the children. Then our eldest son would remain without a family. What about if that happens? Therefore, we feel that you being the second son, you must have a wife, you must marry, so that in the event the first son loses his family, at least we'll have you. We'll have grandchildren you. Tell them that we have no problem giving our last son, maybe our last two sons, for priesthood, but for you, we say no. And I could see the two Catholic priests' impression on their face changing. I think, despite the fact that they didn't understand the Abakuria language, they had already kind of gotten the message, and they both smiled at me, and they urged me, George, just speak out. We sense all may not be well. And I exactly interpreted to them what my mother had said. But then my father looked at me just as I was about to interpret, or rather to repeat what my mother said. And my father said, Chochi, you know very well that all I want is for you to be happy. But in this scenario, your mother has spoken, and I stand by what your mother has said. So that's exactly what I told the priests. And they told me, George, we appreciate your interest in priesthood, but because it is a requirement that when somebody wishes to become a priest, he must get full support from the parents. We therefore will leave you with your parents for 1 year. And if at the end of 1 year you'll have convinced them to allow you to join priesthood, then we will come back and they will sign that they have allowed you to become a priest, and then the rest will follow. Otherwise, this is exactly how I ended up not becoming a Catholic priest. Maybe I didn't have a vocation, maybe I thought I had a vocation, but all in all, I love God and I want to serve God in the best way possible. Others, thank you for watching. This is my story, the Catholic priest who never was. Thank you.